I'm Victoria Licata, and straight ahead on WVU News, I'll tell you how students feel about the latest change happening at Martin Hall.
Life after war. I'm Tia Tran. Coming up this week on WVU News, I'll tell you how PTSD is still affecting 300,000 veterans.
Justice for Skylar Neese has finally been served. I'm Nicole Linder, and I'll tell you how an ugly chapter in Monongalia County history has come to a close. Our award-winning WVU News starts now.
A 17-year-old Monongalia County girl is sentenced to 30 years behind bars. Find out why this teenage murder case revised a child abduction law. I'm Andrew Seeley.
And I'm Victoria Licata. Soldiers returning from war may still be fighting an ongoing battle. See how war veterans are coping with mental disorders. You're watching WVU News, an award-winning newscast produced by television journalism students at West Virginia University.
A West Virginia murder case is making national headlines due to the shocking nature of the crime.
That's right, Andrew. WVU News reporter Nicole Linder joins us now in the studio with more. Nicole?
Thanks, Andrew and Victoria. What began as a joke between two teenage girls in a classroom has now become one of the most shocking murders in history. And finally, both teenagers have been sentenced for the murder of 16-year-old Skylar Neese. Rachel Schoaf, the second girl who was convicted of kidnapping and murdering Skylar Neese, recently received her sentencing. This marks the end of a murder case that lasted almost 2 years.
Again, I'm so sorry, and I pray each day for everyone involved, and I pray each day for forgiveness.
30 years. The fate of a West Virginia teen was recently decided in Monongalia County Court. 17-year-old Rachel Schoaf apologized before hearing her sentence. The teen pled guilty to murdering her best friend Skylar Neese, but some residents say it's not enough.
I believe that she should have gotten life along with her friend because they both conspired against the girl that got killed.
People usually get life in prison for premeditated murder, and if that's the case, then she should get life in prison too.
I think they both should have got life, but 30 years is good.
Schoaf entered her plea in May 2013 after coming forward about her involvement in Neese's death. The teen pled guilty to second-degree murder and cooperated with authorities. She was set to be a key witness in Sheila Eddy's murder trial, but her co-conspirator avoided trial with a guilty plea. Prosecuting attorney Marcia Ashdown says she's pleased with the verdict.
I feel satisfied that we were able to accomplish a reasonable amount of justice for both of these girls.
Sheila Eddy pled guilty to first-degree murder last month and was sentenced to life in prison. The prosecution was willing to recommend Schoaf a shorter 20-year prison sentence after the teen cooperated with investigators and led police to Neese's body. But Schoaf was tried as an adult and received 30 years behind bars instead.
Taking one's life is a big deal. When you imagine her family, her mother, her friends, yeah, 30 years is a minimum thing that should happen to her.
Schoaf's sentencing marks the end of a chapter for the Neese family. Following this case, the Neese family petitioned to pass Skylar's Law in West Virginia. This law now requires the Amber Alert system to notify police immediately of any missing person, runaway, or potential kidnapping. Andrew and Victoria, back to you.
Doing the right thing and making the right choices. That's the message the daughter of Malcolm X is spreading across America.
That's right, Victoria. Ilyasa Shabazz also says a bias can negatively affect a person's judgment. Shabazz is a motivational speaker for social unity. Her recent speech at WVU addressed issues of hatred among young people. According to the latest FBI crime report, 1/2 of all hate crimes in the nation are committed by people between the ages of 15 and 24, and more than half of those crimes involve racial discrimination. Shabazz also says hatred is a learned trait, and the only way to decrease hatred is by teaching young people to coexist in harmony.
13 years have passed since the terrorist attack shifted America's priorities. And now sporting events are no longer as carefree as they used to be.
A trip to the stadium sometimes means a metal detector at the entrance and a bag check at the door. And with more than 200,000 fans attending each season of WVU basketball, University Police increases its security. WVU News crime reporter Rob Gillespie explains.
With more than 14,000 seats in the WVU Coliseum, policing large crowds is a difficult task. Spectator aggression is often only one of many public safety concerns. Officials say before every event, bomb-sniffing dogs sweep the entire building, as well as ensuring appropriate level of staff.
If I start to feel like something bad's going to happen, I go and see a security guard or anybody, or go to a nearest exit.
Authorities say the most important thing officials have to worry about is fans hurting each other.
People who've had too much to drink and being intoxicated and either getting in fights or falling down or having other issues where they wind up getting hurt. Those are by far the largest issues we deal with.
Most pro and major college teams hire private security firms for games. Some have used employees classified as event staff in security roles at stadiums to avoid training requirements.
We have the National Guard units. Some of them are here for the chemical and biological issues that are threats. We have the health department here for the same reason.
Officials say the most important things fans should be aware of while attending games is knowing where the exits are. Not knowing these locations is the leading cause of injuries. Police say the university has an emergency response plan specifically for the stadium and Coliseum. After every large event, a post-review is conducted on all security measures.
I just try to be very aware of my surroundings.
Officials say this past October, the state recently completed their security assessments on the stadium and Coliseum. Robert Gillespie, WVU News, Morgantown.
Currently, the United States has military personnel deployed in 150 countries. This is to ensure America's safety, but that service comes at a price.
That's right, Andrew. Post-traumatic stress disorder affects 1 in 8 returning soldiers. Reporter Tiet Tran spoke with a veteran who has PTSD. He joins us now at the anchor desk with more. Tiet?
Thanks, Andrew. Victoria. With nearly tens of thousands of soldiers returning from deployment, some still face nightmares of their time abroad. I spoke to a Vietnam War veteran to see how he's coping with the past and learning to live in the present.
More than 60,000 of our troops have already come home from Afghanistan.
With those troops coming home, most will suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, like Vietnam War veteran David. This disorder not only affects 5 million Americans, but also their families.
If they have a problem with PTSD, I think they need professional help. And our government does offer help for veterans with PTSD, which is good.
Every day, nearly 22 veterans commit suicide from post-traumatic stress disorder. That's nearly 1 vet per hour. David says before seeking help, PTSD affected him in his everyday life.
PTSD doesn't go away. And learning to live with it is not easy to do either. You have setbacks all the time.
But David is not alone. Symptoms of PTSD includes avoiding situations that remind you of the event, negative changes in beliefs and feelings, and feeling isolated. But officials at the VA hospital say they're here to help.
Make sure the veteran, in terms of their physical and mental health needs, are seen immediately for anything. And primarily a lot of troops suffer from PTSD. And again, we have all the services available for them, like a one-stop shop here at this VA.
About 1 out of 5 veterans coming back from the Afghanistan-Iraqi war will suffer from PTSD. If you or someone you know that suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder, call the number at the bottom of your screen.
Hello, this is Mark Lockett.
There are 27 hospitals throughout West Virginia. PTSD treatments includes one-on-one psychotherapy, family therapy, and support groups along with medication if needed. The VA Hospital of Monongalia County offer its services in Westover. Andrew, Victoria, back to you.
Thanks, Tiet. Making the attempt to change for the better is a difficult process, but it opens the door to many possibilities.
Officials of the 75-year-old journalism school here at WVU have implemented a ton of changes recently, and now the name of the school has also evolved. And officials are hoping this name change reflects the future direction of journalism. The Pearlie Isaac Reed School of Journalism is making changes from the ground up. Starting July 1st, the school will be called the Reed College of Media. And Dean Marianne Reed says her desire is to see students embrace the name change and its new meaning.
I really hope that what they do is think of it as the media school, because this is a school where if you are interested in being a media communicator, you will be able to develop those skills.
As students learn about the latest media skills inside the classrooms, the school is also making sure it provides the the newest curriculum and facilities as well. Martin Hall has been home to the Pearlie Isaac Reed School of Journalism for the past 75 years. And next spring, students will return here to the Reed College of Media, along with new programs and a new Media Innovation Center that will expand the college to the Evansdale campus. With all the modifications happening within the school, students are seeing how the name change is taking them into the future.
It's exciting in that we get to be a part of it and show, look, we're right here. I just graduated from the College of Media, and I'm ready to take on this new form of journalism.
I feel like it correlates better with what the journalism world is now compared to what it was, due to like the internet being such a huge influence on our society.
But one student says it's hard for her to say goodbye to the J School.
I am sad. It's going to be weird saying like, oh, I'm going to the College of Media, but I think I'll get used to it.
Many of the new academic programs have already been implemented, and the new Media Innovation Center is set to open next year. The 10,000 square facility will serve as a place for emerging media applications. The renaming of the school is a result of a 2-year interview process. Over 700 students, alumni, and media professionals were asked to present a name that's relevant to the modern media landscape.
It's not just the WVU J School that's competing to meet future demands in the field.
The same can be said for players in WVU sports. Coming up, reporter Brittany Kavanaugh tells us about a WVU wrestler who has overcome injuries to compete in the Big 12 championships.
Straight ahead on WVU News, I'm Brittany Kavanaugh, and I'll tell you about a wrestler who's trying to make his way into the WVU record books.
We're all different. Our interests, our backgrounds can influence our futures. But without focus, they're just dreams. But what if someone could give your interests life? If they could give your background power? If they could fuel what motivates you? That's what gives dreams meaning, purpose. And perhaps that was the moment you knew you wanted to be a mountaineer.
The WVU wrestling team is pinning its opponents to the mat.
Sports anchor Brittany Kavanaugh is here to tell us more. Brittany?
Thanks, Victoria and Andrew. With the determination of its players, the WVU wrestling team is advancing to the Big 12 tournament in Oklahoma. One WVU wrestler battled through injuries to head to the Big 12 championships. His goal to return to the mats is allowing him to make WVU history. I had the opportunity to share his excitement while heading into this match.
From West Virginia, Colin Johnson.
It all starts with lacing up his shoes and putting on his headgear. This is Colin Johnston. He is a senior wrestler here at West Virginia University. After spending 2 years off the mat due to a shoulder injury, coaches feared Johnston would not have a chance at recovering from the time off. Head coach Craig Turnbull says he believes that this was Johnston's year to shine.
It's within his reach, you know, some confidence, some hard work, some little bits of fine tuning. But now the goal, instead of just standing on the podium as an All-American, it should be very realistic. Hey, I can work myself with a good tournament into the finals and compete to win a national title.
Johnston has climbed to a 14th ranking in his weight class this season, where his numbers far outrank others on the mat.
I'm in West Virginia University's wrestling pavilion. Now, a pin in wrestling is when you control your opponent on their back for a certain amount of time. Colin Johnston has pinned 9 different opponents this season.
Johnston will have a chance to become WVU's very first Big 12 championship wrestler. The senior says his favorite reasons about wrestling for the blue and gold.
The tradition, just being able to be near Greg, 3-time NCAA champ, every day, working out with him every day, and just everybody on the team. It's just fun atmosphere.
Since defeating 4 ranked opponents in a row this season, he says he is more than hungry for the title. Johnston wrestled March 8th at the Big 12 Championships against some of the conference's best athletes. The senior will leave it all on the mat to try to make WVU history in his last year as a Mountaineer. Victoria and Andrew, back to you.
The closing to winter sports is getting WVU fans excited for March.
They're coming from across the nation to support and cheer on their fellow Mountaineers.
Well, that's all we have for you on this week's edition of WVU News. You can visit us online at our website.
You can also watch any of our shows on YouTube, and please follow us and our reporters on Twitter. I'm Andrew Seeley.
And I'm Victoria Licata. Thanks for watching WVU News. We'll leave you now with the sights and sounds of the Mountaineer Maniacs as they cheer on the WVU basketball team. We'll see you next time.